Hello everyone, today's video I'm just going to share a little bit about the items that I picked up at the Baltimore Pen Show. Some of these, actually most of these, are from the Freebie table, and I don't know, the Baltimore Pen Show is the only pen show I've ever gone to, so I don't know if the Freebie table is a normal thing at other pen shows, but basically you bring in some items and then you pick up what you want. I donated some inks that I wasn't using, some browns and some blacks, and a Jinhao 82 and I forget, another fountain pen that I wasn't using. And I got this Osmeroid set. This is a vintage set of calligraphy nibs with the pen. Unfortunately, the pen is pretty, I'm not sure if it's a piston filler or what the deal is, but it needs a little work because I can't really, I mean, you can turn the knob, but nothing seems to be moving. So if I can't get it to work, the least I can do is dip them, and it comes with all these different nibs. So I really just need to start by cleaning this and see if I can get it working, taking it apart. But actually I was eyeing this pen, maybe not this exact pen. I think the one I was eyeing was a lever filler with the different nibs. So I was happy to pick this up free. Just hopefully I can get it working. So that's the Osmeroid. And other freebies, there was this notebook I haven't used yet. Just says Fringe, made in Korea. But it feels like nice paper. So I got that. And then there was this Pelikan catalog from, I think it's 2021. Not a catalog, it's their magazine for handwriting culture. So this was edition 4. So it just has some information on some of the pens and writing and that sort of thing. So it's just a nice magazine to have. I do love reading about pens. And some other freebies are these inks. I already have a Walden, Organic Studio Walden, but I picked up, it's almost empty, but I picked it up because I like it so much. And then there was a KWZ IG Turquoise, a Diamond Cold Pens exclusive. This is Little Hells, and Noodler's Navajo Turquoise. And so this is what the Noodler's Navajo Turquoise looks like. It's a basic, it reminds me of Waterman inspired blue is what it reminds me of. And the KWZ IG Turquoise is supposed to be more blue than it is here. So I don't know, maybe the previous owner mixed it with something, but both of these are pretty much full bottles. So that's the IG Turquoise. An Organic Studio Walden. It's a very intense ink. A lot of red sheen, green. I really like that ink, so I was happy to get, even though it's almost empty, I was still happy to get that. And the Diamond Little Hells Cult Pen exclusive. It's a dark green, kind of a dark greenish blue ink with a tad bit of red sheen in there. Although I keep saying I'm going to move away a little bit from blues and greens, I end up getting 4 blues, green inks, and getting rid of a lot of my browns and blacks, but that's what I like. So those are the inks, and lastly are the pens. I remember last year I didn't have any trouble picking out the pen that I want, but this year I was just very indecisive and it took me forever. So Friday I left with only one pen, and this is the Jonathan Brooks Charlotte. And of all the pens that he had, this was probably the most plain pen. If you're familiar with Jonathan resins, his resins are pretty colorful and beautiful, to say the least. But I really like this one for whatever reason. I just love the red. And always love the satin. So this is a Charlotte. And the Charlotte just has a clip, and that's his top finial. I'm not sure what that, maybe it's a North Carolina, maybe. I'm not sure what that is at the finial. That's the end finial. But he's a very nice man. I talked to him last year, but I didn't buy one of his pens. But I was kind of determined to buy one of his pens this year. So I will write a little bit with it. Show you how it writes. I did get a fine nib. I think he uses Yovo nibs. So this is the Carolina Pen Company. This is the Charlotte. And this is a fine steel nib. And the ink, I have Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo. And I think it's a perfect ink pairing with this pen. It does seem like a pretty thick fine to me. Initially, I was going to change it to an extra fine, but I just like it so much with the Yamabudo and how wet the Yamabudo that I think I'm probably going to keep it as is. So this is a Charlotte. I'll show you up close. There's the top finial. And there's the clip. See, it has a matte finish. Very beautiful resin. Almost has a wood look to it, which is probably why I picked it up, because I really do love wood pens. So that's it. And that's, he has this same logo on the nib. It looks like an ink splat and maybe North Carolina. I'm not sure. That's the feed. So that's the Charlotte. The next pen I got, this was, and this pen took me forever because they had such pretty pens, and it was Indelible Pens, and they're in, I think he said Arlington, Virginia. Indelible Pens. And this is by Lotus. Lotus makes his pens. But he has so many. He has ebonite pens, and I talked with him and his wife for a minute. And let me get their card. His card, Benjamin Rivera, Indelible Pens. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a website, and their Instagram only has really one post, so there wasn't too much information about their company. But this pen is a joy to write with. So the nib there is, it's a Lotus nib. It is a piston filler, no ink window. And he said that he really likes Leonardo, so this is what this pen is based off of, a Leonardo Momento Zero or Momento Magico. And like the Charlotte, it's a fine steel nib. The ink in here is Birmingham Pen Company, Pennsylvania's Fieldstone, Pennsylvania. It's a very nice smooth nib. And this is the pen up close. You see that beautiful resin? And that's the piston knob. You have a ball clip like the Leonardo's. You have 3 bands and another band here. And the piston is very smooth. And there's the nib, that's the Lotus nib. And there's the feed. I just picked this one because of the colors. It was the only one of this type that he had at his stand, so I'm hoping maybe this is a one-off, but I haven't seen this color anywhere else. There are no other markings or anything on this to say what it is other than the nib that says Lotus. So Jonathan's pen was $200. This one was $250. And again, it's Indelible Pens by Benjamin Rivera. Nice gentleman, and his wife gave me this pouch to go with it. Nice, very soft, cushiony pouch. So that's nice. And lastly, now this pen didn't take me any time. While this one took me about, I was at the table for about 7 minutes. This took me about 10 minutes to decide on. And this one took me about, I would say, 45 seconds. I've wanted this pen for a while. This is the Visconti Mirage Mythos and Apollo. I've seen a few reviews. I saw Grace's review, which, I had it in my cart after seeing her review. But for some reason, I just never could pull the trigger on it. But once I put it in my hand at the drum ghoul stand and then dipped it in the ink, I was sold in less than a minute. Visconti Mirage Mythos. And this is the Apollo. This is also a fine steel. The ink in here is diamond, ancient copper, which I also think is a very nice match for this pen. I haven't used ancient copper very much, but I really like the shading in this ink. So this is the Mythos. Visconti has the same Ponte Vecchio clip. Very beautiful brown, gold, some orange. Has a nice band there that says Mythos, made in Italy. And there's the nib. Probably one of the best Visconti nibs. Actually, it is the best Visconti nib that I have, especially steel nibs. The only other Visconti steel nibs that I have are the Van Goghs. And it's definitely better than those. And it comes really close to my gold nib in the Homo sapiens. This is a solid nib. And I like the matte finish on this gold here. And another thing that I really like, it is a magnetic cap, but the good thing about this is that it doesn't move. Like, say my Ritmas, my Monteverdi Ritmas, and some of my other magnetic caps, they move around, my Peniters, but they have these grooves right here. There are 3 grooves that your cap just slips on and it just stays in place. So there's the V at the end finial. Really nothing at the top finial, which is a very nice pen. And this was $160 with tax, which is pretty much the same that you'll find in stores. One thing about the pen shows that I noticed is that you don't really save any money. You think you get some deals. I did get some deals last year on some closeout on the Joyas. None this year, but if you think about it, the dealers, they have to travel. They have to probably pay to put up a booth, pay to stay. So, and some people are coming from overseas. A couple of people came from India, so that probably adds up a lot. So I can kind of understand why you don't get as many deals, or I didn't get as many deals as I was expecting. But I'm always very happy to support, especially the independent pen makers. Like last year, I bought a Hardy Penwright's pen and the Joyas and some vintage pens. I didn't get any vintage pens this year. maybe, hopefully, maybe next year or this year I'm hoping to go to the DC Pen Show. So maybe we'll see what's there. And I did meet Jonathan Weinberg, if you're familiar with Jonathan's channel. He's an artist, so I met him there. We were at the pilot Vanishing Point. They did a history of the Vanishing Point. So we were sitting together at that. So I got to talk with him a little bit. Nice gentleman. If you're not familiar with Jonathan Weinberg, he recently did a video on the takeover of Lamy by Mitsubishi that was really interesting. So check out his channel. That's pretty much all I have. I didn't get too much. I pretty much spent what I expected, but I'm very happy with everything that I got here. I think my favorite is definitely this Visconti. The most beautiful is, yeah, this one, Indelible Pens, and this is just solid. It's a solid pen all the way around. Very happy that I picked this one up over the others. I had another one that I was going back and forth with, that was more along this line, but I'm very happy that I picked this one up. So that's pretty much all I have today on my Baltimore Pen Show acquisitions. So I do have a few other videos that I need to make on some other new pens that I've received. Hopefully I can get those up pretty soon. So until then, everyone take care, and I will catch you later.